My replacement, I presume? He asked, feeling for what turned out to be his pocket watch, still safe at the end of its tarnished chain and tucking it away again with a relieved pat. Singleton was certainly a resilient sort. The way he acted, anybody would have thought the pair of them had just sat themselves down to a grand and sociable supper in some fancy Eastern restaurant, instead of meeting the way they had. "I must say your arrival was timely indeed." Still resting on his haunches, Sam nodded in acknowledgement. "Sam O'Balavan," he said, though he doubted an introduction was necessary. Up at Flagstaff he'd heard all about the schoolmaster, and he figured the reverse was probably true, with a few pertinent details accepted, of course. Singleton rubbed his rope-chafed wrists to restore the circulation, but he showed no inclination to stand up just yet. Poor little fella must have had noodles for legs, Sam reflected, after hanging upside down in the well like that. "Call me Tom," he said affably. "I am much obliged for your quick action on my behalf." Sam let one corner of his mouth quirk upward. He was sparing with a smile. Like names for horses, they meant something to him, and he gave them out only when he was good and ready. He made a stalwart friend when he had a high opinion of somebody, but he took his time deciding such matters. He knew a little about Tom Singleton, much of it hearsay, but as to whether he liked the man or not, well, the vote was still untallied. Small feet rustled the bushes nearby, and a giggle or two rode the warm afternoon breeze. Valiantly, Singleton pretended not to hear, but there was a flush pulsing on his cheekbones. It had to be hard on a small man's dignity, being cranked up out of a schoolyard well by a big one hired to take over his job. Sam wanted to tread lightly around what was left of Singleton's pride. "You hurting anywhere?" Sam asked, rising to his feet and scanning the schoolyard. "Just you wait," he told the hidden miscreants silently. "Fit as a fiddle," Singleton insisted. He tried to get up then, but Sam saw that he was fixing to crumple and withheld his hand out of regard for the fellow's self-respect. Sure enough, he went down. "Best sit a spell," Sam said. Another bush shivered off to his left. No time like the present, he thought, and waded in, snatching up one of the offenders by his shirt collar and dragging him out into the open. The giggles turned to gasps, and there was some powerful shrub shaking as the rest of the gang lit out for safer ground. "And your name would be?" The lad looked to be around 12 or 13, with a cap of chestnut-brown hair and strange whiskey-colored eyes peering, at once scared and defiant, out of a freckled face. His clothes were plain but of good sturdy quality, and he wore shoes which marked him as somebody's pride and joy. "Terran Chancellor," he answered, clearly begrudging the information. His gaze darted briefly to Singleton, who was just summoning up the gumption for another attempt at gaining his feet, and the sly pleasure in the kid's face made Sam want to shake him. Forbearing, Sam held him suspended, so the toes of his fine mail-order shoes just barely brushed the grass. "You the leader of this bunch of outlaws?" he asked. "No," Chancellor snapped. "Put me down." Sam hoisted him an inch or two higher. "Maybe you'd like to hang upside down in the well for a while," he mused. It was a bluff, but the kid didn't need to know that. His eyes widened, and he went a shade paler behind that constellation of freckles. "I hope you're not the new schoolmaster," Terran Chancellor said with brave disdain. Sam wasn't sure how smart the kid was, but he had to credit him with grit. He allowed himself a slow, wicked grin. "Abandon hope, all ye who enter here," he quoted. Chancellor frowned, gnawed at his lower lip. "What does that mean?" he asked, peevish. "Sounds like something out of some highfalutin book." Sam released his hold on the boy's shirt, watched as he dropped, swayed, and found his balance. "It means, young Mr. Chancellor, that when you sit down at your desk bright and early tomorrow morning, here in the hallowed halls of learning, I'll be standing in front of the blackboard." "Well, hell," the kid complained.